Happy International Women's Day to all amazing women all over the world. We see you, we love you, and we appreciate you. I have with me here wonderful ladies of the wave, and today we're going to be discussing on the theme for this year's International Women's Day, which is Break the Bias. My name is Dumebi Adigwe, and I have with me here...
Hello, my name is Jo Sharon.
I'm Stella.
Hi, I'm Segilala.
Hey, I'm Onyinye.
Hello, I'm Adeswe. I'm Dami B.
It's so great to have all of you here on this round table. So I'm just going to start off with this question. I mean, the theme for this year's International Women's Day is Break the Bias, of course. So what is bias to you?
So to me, bias is prejudice towards a person. It can depend on gender and other things, age, whatever it is. You just have a certain belief about a person based on something. So that's what bias is.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say bias is having preference for one person or group of people over others.
So I think just to sort of sum it up, I would possibly think bias is, you know, having a preconceived idea, right? You have a frame about how you perceive or how you believe this person is. Could be positive or negative.
And usually it's always unfair to the other party because you place one person over the other.
Exactly, preference.
Oh, okay, preference, okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to say, I mean, we are all women on this table. Has there been a time you have suffered from bias, gender bias in the past? I mean, growing up as a woman in this society, how have you ever suffered gender bias?
So the thing is this, bias can be positive and it can be negative. However, I think it's the attitude behind it that is the concern. So at times you have bias such as saying things like, oh, women are good at taking care of the house, or women are good at, so you are in a team where, for example, you're in tech and you're the only lady there and they want to organize a party or they want to organize an event. And they just come to you to say, oh, because you're the lady, oh, I want you to organize this thing, I want you to do this thing. So it's not necessarily bad because they just feel there's this positive bias towards women that they are nurturing and they are
naturally, right.
So, but it doesn't necessarily make it true. So, yes, that's a bias, but it's a positive one. It's not like they mean any negative thing.
Okay, so a bias can be positive as well. Okay. Does anybody else want to share?
I do think that the biases towards women being nurturers and homemakers is negative because they kind of frame it to be all that a woman is. They believe that all you should be is a nurturer and a homemaker, and when you try to step outside of those boundaries or that image has been made for you, you are then seen as problematic. That's when you start to have like negative connotations. Oh, she's not submissive, she's very problematic, or she's very domineering because she's not trying to be a homemaker or nurturing. So I don't think that nurturing thing they say about women is a positive bias. I personally don't like it.
Yeah, when they are just placed in that box
like
to say, okay, this is where you should be and you should not exceed this particular limit.
Because you are female that you should not, like if for instance we are here and someone needs to share food that the woman has to do because that is what she's supposed to do. They see you as homemaker, cook and all of the other weird things.
And nothing more than that.
Nothing more than that.
So
and
I think we should not necessarily take offense at everything. I think looking at it pits us men against women, or it pits genders against each other.
Like a gender
war.
So
at times it comes from a good place, and that's where this bias is coming from, where it's the attitude towards the bias. At times, you know,
I don't think so.
The person might not even necessarily, just like we have some phrases that we use that is not so bad, and it's until somebody is pointing it out to you that you learn, oh, I think this is not really good. So someone saying a lady should share something, I think it's just bias that comes from culture, that is influenced by the environment.
Okay, thank you, Adeswe.
It still makes
Dami was
bad.
nodding her head when she was saying that. Dami, what do you think about what she said?
You said it might not necessarily, we don't need to take offense, and I think we should. That's why we're here trying to break the bias. Anybody can do that. Don't do that because I'm a lady, and that's the idea you have in your head that I'm the one that is supposed to share something because I'm a lady. And the question that Dumebi asked was your experience.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced any? And I would like to give mine. I order a lot of stuff every day, and I have a lot of dispatch riders calling me. Then one day I'm talking to this dispatch rider and he's not getting the directions. And I'm like, just wait, calm down, listen to me. And he just goes, this is why I don't like to talk to women. Now, why I know they like following my talk. I'm like, just calm down and listen to me. And my friend is with me and he takes the phone and describes it, and in 10 minutes the guy, and I'm like, what is that? the same thing he said is what I said. Now, which one is I know they like for a woman?
I've had a couple of experiences, but my worst was in school during my first year. So I studied engineering, and in my first year, I had very good grades. I think I had like A's in almost all my courses. And gist just spread around that because I slept with all the lecturers.
All the lecturers.
So the bias here was that, I mean, a fine girl studying engineering,
so are you saying a fine girl cannot have brains as well?
So things like that. I mean, that was one out of so many.
And yeah, I would like to chip in that this doesn't just come from only men, right? Some women too display.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I had like, I was about to move into a new apartment, and then there was this woman that was the landlady. And, you know, I saw the apartment, I liked it, and I was about to pay for it. And then she told the agent that she would rather take a single man than a single woman because apparently I looked like, in her words, a call girl.
Wow.
So it's not just from a man.
Yeah,
I mean, we have all witnessed it. Like, I mean, we have a lot of work to do as women too as well. So that brings me to my next question. Are you aware of some of your unconscious biases too, even to women, like the situation I just put out now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. like at first, at the beginning, when I started seeing women bus drivers and keke napep drivers, I was like, why is a woman driving keke napep? And I was like, why can't a woman drive the keke napep? So it does not really matter who it is, and we should always check ourselves when we're thinking like that. That's the fact that it's a woman driving this does not mean, or doing any other thing that you think a man should be doing.
Does not mean she's not good at it.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna approach that question from a different perspective. So for me, personally, I work within a team, and I always want to see everyone, you know, forge ahead. So I always want to ensure that the lady or the woman is equally doing as much as what the male figure is doing, right? But for me, I think what's most important is, you know, having that support structure. So yes, I may feel like, oh, I'm pushing this girl child, I'm pushing this female figure to go to lengthy, you know, to go above her limits. But the most important thing is, how am I also supporting that? Because that's when it would become a bias, you know, putting her out there and not having that
and not
platform.
actually limiting her or suppressing her. Yeah,
exactly.
But don't you feel like it's not because it's a woman? Like, you want your whole team to do well, so you're pushing everybody.
Yes, so sometimes you may also have, you know, people within a team, especially women, might say, okay, I'm already seen as being that person that can only do this number of things. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes we even put it upon ourselves as women, you know, to say, no, the company already perceives it, the society already perceives it, you know.
So Sekilola, I wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, so I was just going to say off what Sharon said, that I think also, just generally speaking, men tend to be more, you know, go after you want, they over, not all the time, but in a general sense, over qualify, like they go after that job, whether they're that qualified or not, but women tend to sometimes under-qualify themselves you know, so from what she said about pushing the female employee over, like, because naturally they will look to the man and be like, oh, let him do. So
let him do, because he will do it better.
Right.
They feel he will do it better.
The unconscious bias sometimes about myself is this whole, like, I guess, imposter syndrome kind of thing. Like, yeah, in your workspace,
and you feel like,
and you're
like
just
okay,
withdraw a bit, stay back. Like, I don't know, am I not qualified? And sometimes you even think, like, do they only hire certain women because they're trying to fill their gender quota, diversity, that kind of thing. So I do think it's important to sort of, like, you know, not necessarily give women extra, but in a way give them, because you know that, you know, it's like twice as hard, or you have to push twice as hard to get them to that. And also why I think it's very important to have, like, actual female role models, like people who you like look up to and like, okay, you know, this person can do it, why can't I, kind of thing.
And you know, having to juggle with every other thing she has to do, you see that she's able to attain that height. I mean, it's very, very encouraging.
And you can still have a family if you want. You can still, like, you don't have to.
And we need to get over that saying that, oh, there's no way a woman can, you know, juggle both her family, her career, that one has to suffer for it. And they say it a lot, that, oh, you cannot manage everything. Like, they'll tell you one has to suffer for it.
Is she a single parent?
Right?
That's
isn't parenting a joint effort?
Exactly. So unless you are kind of insinuating that she will be parenting alone, then that's how one is going to suffer. Because if you acknowledge the fact that she has a partner, that there are two people who are going to be doing the parenting and the homekeeping, then one should not suffer.
Partnership,
So
it's the same way like when women are looking after their kids, it's like, oh, I'm looking after my kids. When the dad is looking after, it's like, oh, he's babysitting.
He's great.
Why not go ahead and pay him?
He's so strong.
Well, right?
And then they tend to promote it a lot for something that is supposed to be normal.
I was reading a thread yesterday about a woman complaining about being listed as the primary caregiver for her child, even though she has specified that she's not the one. And then someone comes up to say that in the country where I think she said in Malta or so, that there are forms where they have the primary caregiver, the form to fill in the name, and then husband. So essentially they're saying that primary caregiver cannot be the husband. So when you put in the name for primary caregiver, it means that whoever is next, they're basically insinuating that it has to be the woman who's going to take up. And they're like,
it doesn't matter.
A man was saying that I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I am the one who's the primary caregiver. But every time something happens in his kid's school, they call his wife.
Because you're like, where's your mother?
Every single time he specifies, like, call me. I'm the one who I bring them to school every day and take them home. Yeah, I'm the face that you know. But when something happens, the one will be in a meeting or something, and they call her, oh, something's wrong with the kids, and then she's like,
I think we've not spoken about the most popular one. When you go out with a guy.
Oh my God!
And what if I'm the one paying the bill?
I'm like, am I invisible or something? I don't know.
I think all of us have experience.
Even when you're working with a guy, boss, how far? And I'm like, am I here?
Like you order. Okay, see, I ordered a boat. My name is Onyinye. You picked up. Is this Onyinye? Yes. I entered the boat with a guy, and you be like, boss, good afternoon. It's the boss, the Onyinye that you talk to on the phone. Like, what's going on?
Like,
and even when there was one time I was like, good morning, no. And this man also looked at me from the driving mirror like, I was like, wow, okay.
How about the ones that you get in a scuffle with and then they're like, I cannot talk to you. Where is your husband? I bashed your car. I don't have any business with you. Where's the person that bought this car for you?
I have your type at home. Me, I always reply. I have your type too at home.
Like, you understand? Like, what do you mean? Do you know my type? Like, why would you say you have my type at home? Like, go and sit down. I cannot talk to you. I mean, these are the issues. So this is a follow-up question with what we've been discussing, like, ever since. Like, how do you think people can stop being... In fact, the main question is, can people stop being biased against women? Is it possible?
It's a very big
question. It's very...
I honestly think that it can. Like, it is going...
Completely.
Nothing will change.
It's a gradual
This
thing.
is a gradual process, but I feel like we can make significant changes if everybody decides to check themselves.
I thought we can be conscious of it, but we can't stop it entirely.
So not like, I feel like if you are conscious of an action that you constantly take and you understand why you take that action, you will be able to curtail your excesses. You check yourself. Like
you would even think before you react.
Yeah, you always think before you react. You ask yourself, why am I doing this? You see, for instance, Dami mentioned, you see a female bus driver and like, oh, why is the woman driving the bus? Why can't she? She doesn't need any parts to drive that bus.
Yeah,
she can always just do it. So I always ask, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking this way? Or
why did I think
why exactly? Why am I thinking this way?
Why I think we can't stop it because biases are unconscious.
Yeah,
like, we don't know we are
very
that's
why from the beginning of time.
I don't think biases are okay. While they are unconscious, we are kind of socialized that way in the sense that a child who is like 1 year old and has no knowledge of anything does not have those gender biases.
Yeah, actually.
But growing up, you start seeing the things. You start seeing the things that
it's what it's being put in their head.
The environment. Like they get like pushed towards do this. You're a girl, do this.
You're not supposed to do this.
You're not supposed to do this. Like over time, you can see that people are now trying. You can see conversations every day saying it's not that a boy must wear blue. He can wear pink. It does not really matter.
I had an 8-year-old boy one time say, "Boys don't cry." I'm like, who taught you that?
No, I think that's the beauty of growing
you are
up.
Yes.
And the beauty of forming relationships. So you come in here and I'm looking at you and we have a discussion. I'm picking some things from you that I've not heard about before, not learned. The beauty of growing up is that you can introspect and think of the things you've done before, how you think, and you look at it and say, oh, I think I used to think like this before, and it's not okay. But that's what you know, and so that's why I said earlier that I don't think offense will solve bias. That's so somebody has has stereotyped you for something. I think that's because you are limited by what you know and what the environment you grew up in and other factors, your parents. So the beauty of growing up and able to grow above this bias is learning, relearning, be open to new things. We're having a discussion. I've taken a lot of things from this place, and so that's the beauty of having this discussion, where you come into a place with a particular idea, with a particular preconceived idea, and when you are leaving, if you are open to learning and you are listening to what everybody is saying, you should be able to.
But there's a problem with that, because even if you decide that you're going to educate somebody, like not yourself, somebody else, like let's take the dispatch guy, for example. When he got to me, I was like, you don't say that. There's nothing like, they follow woman talk, because I was saying, I beg, whatever.
You'll be surprised. It might be funny macho, but you'll be surprised that maybe when he
I think she always call them out on it.
So that's the thing. She was saying something about like not picking offense. See Dumebi's case, for instance. Someone says they won't give you a house because you look like a call girl. Why would she not be offended? It is offensive.
Yeah, it can be.
I feel it should be addressed. I actually address.
Yeah, like you can't tell me that you say things to me based on your own personal biases. And say that because you do not know better, I should not be offended. I will be offended and I will check you.
So just writing on the last keyword that you said, personal biases, it then proves that I think more than 90% of the time that we are actually conscious of this bias. And if we're conscious of it, then we need to start asking ourselves, how would we feel if we were
honestly
in the shoes? It's and when we're able to ask ourselves, so have a reflection, why would I think that maybe is a cool girl? Why would I think that this lady cannot actually do this? Why? Then it helps me to change my mindset. So it's a gradual process. So back to the question, can we actually change it? Of course we can, but it has to take every individual to make that deliberate effort.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you have to be open to learning new things.
Exactly.
So
she, Adesina did mention, experiences. When you leave your location, we've all learned a lot today, right? By interacting. A lot of us are meeting each other for the first time. When you go beyond your normal societal values, you go out there, you have experiences, you're open-minded. It has a way of changing things.
But I think if we're contextualizing this, let's say like to Nigeria, because we're all Nigerians and this is, because Nigerians are stubborn.
So that's the deliberate.
And the older generation. It's not even like with us, like the older generation.
Like, how do we get?
They're already set in their ways. You cannot tell an older person.
They're already rooted
like your
life.
How can we younger generations break that
It's
bias?
from us. We're the ones that have to start that.
Honestly, it sounds like it's like giving up. But personally, the older generation, I'm just. You'll be good. For me and my age and below. For me and my age group and below, like people who are young, people who. I was saying that I met an 8-year-old boy who was saying that boys don't cry, and I'm like, who taught you that?
You must have picked that up from somewhere.
Like, why would you even say a man's parents cry?
It means that you are 8. You will fall down the stairs. You're going to get hurt while playing football. You will cry. So what means? So if you start crying when you're hurt, they'll tell that you're no longer a boy or what?
He's not strong.
He's not. It's things, and then let's say we didn't have that. I had to talk to him, but let's say we didn't have that talk. You go up into a 15-year-old who believes that boys don't cry, girls are this,
even men that.
And then next thing you know, he's a 35-year-old man in an office who has women working for him and has all kinds of weird notions that has been growing into him since he was a child. So I'm saying that we should focus on the people who still have fertile minds for learning.
And the thing is, even like what you said, when a man opens his mouth to say, I have no business with the kitchen, I cannot cook, I cannot do anything, I'm a man. I've had a guy actually tell me that he's never even going to help out in the kitchen because that's not his place.
So I feel like
I'm like, okay, where's your place then?
I know my place
because the highest paid chefs around the world are almost all men.
Yeah.
So you just like that's why very interesting.
That's why they are the highest.
It's when they contextualize it to like the home versus something that
and that's why you walk into an African household and probably the wife is sitting down watching TV and the man is cooking and they'll be like, hey,
but do you know, as Nigerians, we all internalize that as children. Mommy in the daddy in the parlor,
watching film, children,
mommy in the kitchen. Like as children, we grew up knowing that on a weekend, mommy is going to be cooking,
and daddy is going to be watching
or UEFA or Champions League, and we'll be outside playing.
No, like it's very interesting because I just realized one time at Booker Hut, the guy that was doing the cashier was a guy, and something was happening. The queue was held up. And one guy just comes and says, "Why they do like woman?" I was like, "Excuse me." That's literally a guy being slow. Which one is you?
Every bad attitude, every negative attitude, being slow, not being smart enough, not being.
Why do they argue like woman?
Why they drive like woman?
Everything that is not.
Or you will see a driver that just probably took a wrong turn or something and be like, now woman, like
Yo, okay, so I feel like that is one unconscious bias I need to check.
Actually, we all have to check that.
Yeah, that's the one I need to check.
We all have
when I see someone like driving on the side, I'm like, oops. I'm like, yeah, it's a babe. Yep.
I mean,
so that's true. I need to check.
We all on this table and everyone watching us needs to be very conscious of this, because sometimes we don't even know when we say these things. We don't even know when we do these things. But I'm very happy for the new generation that we're having now, because it seems like everybody is exposed. Everybody knows these things. People are wanting to change.
I feel like
people are. What did you say?
Online.
Well, even if there is still more effort than we had years ago, so it's still something. I mean, one step at a time. Yeah. So even though it may not be completely eliminated, but then we are going to keep making progress till we get to a point where a man and a woman is seen as equal on a table.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
It's been a very, very beautiful learning session here at the round table. I've had so much fun with Segi. I've had so much fun with Joe Sharon, with Dami, Adesoye, and Onyinye. It was a very lovely session. Thank you so much. And I think it has been such an amazing day here at the round table. And we hope you have learned a thing or two about how to break the bias in the society. Please, from today on, do not forget to make a conscious effort to
break the bias.